wailing sirens jolted Alina from her sleep. A sound no child on Earth had heard in generations until today. She stumbled from her bed, heart thumping wildly against her small chest, as her parents burst into her room, faces pale with fear. Outside the window, the morning sky glowed an angry red, a color that didn't belong among the usual blues and whites. "They're here," her father whispered, his voice shaking. "The Viridians have broken through the outer defenses." 13 years had passed since the aliens arrived in their massive ships, demanding Earth's surrender. 13 years of uneasy peace while humans prepared, built, and waited. And now the waiting was over. That was 20 years ago. Alina Thompson stood on the bridge of the starship Resilience, looking out at the endless stars as Captain Jordan finished his report. At 33, her dark hair was already streaked with silver, a reminder of everything humanity had endured. "The Viridian fleet is massing at Proxima Centauri," Captain Jordan said, his weathered face grim. "Intelligence suggests they're planning their final push against us." Alina nodded, her fingers tracing the scar that ran from her temple to her jaw. "Then we'll meet them there." The Viridians had begun the war, expecting a swift victory. They were wrong. Their first attack killed millions, but humans didn't surrender. Instead, they fought back with everything they had. When the aliens declared total war, humanity united as never before. Admiral Thompson, a young officer, called from her station. "We've intercepted a transmission from the Viridian High Command." Alina moved to the console, her steps measured and calm despite the storm brewing inside her. The message was simple. No terms, no prisoners, no mercy. The Viridians would not stop until every human was dead. "Send a reply," Alina said quietly. "Tell them we accept their terms." The bridge fell silent. Captain Jordan stepped forward. "Admiral," Alina turned to face her crew. "If they want total war, we'll give them something worse. Prepare Operation Sunforge." Operation Sunforge was humanity's last resort, a weapon so terrible that many argued it should never be used. But Alina had watched her parents die in the first wave of attacks. She had grown up in refugee camps, trained in underground facilities, and risen through the ranks of a military built from the ashes of Earth's former nations. She knew what was at stake. 3 days later, the Resilience and 5 other battleships arrived at Proxima Centauri, facing a Viridian armada that stretched as far as their sensors could detect. "They outnumber us 20-1, Captain Jordan reported. Alina stood at the view screen, her face illuminated by the light of the closest star. "Numbers don't win wars. Will does." The Viridian ships moved into formation, preparing to obliterate the small human fleet. Their communications channel crackled to life, and a harsh voice filled the bridge. "Humans," said Supreme Commander Daxu of the Viridian forces, "your species has prolonged the inevitable. Today we end this conflict. Your extinction is necessary for galactic stability." Alina smiled slightly. "Commander Daxu, I've studied your people. You believe yourselves to be logical, superior. You think humans are chaotic, unpredictable, and therefore dangerous. You are a cancer on this galaxy," Daxu replied. "We have destroyed 1,000 species like yours." "That's where you're wrong," Alina said softly. "There are no species like ours, and you're about to learn why." She nodded to her communications officer, who sent a coded signal to the other human ships. Immediately, they split apart, each racing toward a different position around the star. The Viridians hesitated, confused by the seemingly suicidal maneuver. Their massive fleet began to give chase, spreading out to intercept the human vessels. "They've taken the bait," Captain Jordan said. "All ships report ready." Alina took a deep breath. 20 years ago, when the Viridians first attacked, humans had been peaceful, divided, and unprepared. But necessity had forced them to change, to harness their greatest strengths: creativity, determination, and an absolute refusal to surrender. "Deploy the harvesters," she ordered. From each human ship, Dozens of small drones shot toward the star, forming a complex pattern around its roiling surface. The Viridian fleet, still confused, continued their approach. "Daxu is hailing us again," the communications officer reported. "Let him watch," Elena replied. On the view screen, Supreme Commander Daxu's alien features showed the first signs of uncertainty. "What are you doing, human? Something you thought impossible." Elena's voice was steady. "Your scientists said it couldn't be done, controlling a star's magnetic field with such precision. But humans have always excelled at doing the impossible." The harvesters began to glow as they synchronized with the star's natural rhythms. Deep inside Proxima Centauri, magnetic fields shifted, twisted, and concentrated. "Full shields," Elena commanded. "Prepare for solar tsunami." The star's surface bulged and then erupted in a massive coronal ejection, but not in a random direction. The harvesters, precisely positioned, channeled the enormous energy directly toward the Viridian fleet. Daxu's eyes widened in horror. "This is madness. You'll destroy yourselves too." "The difference between us," Elena said, gripping the railing as the ship shuddered under the strain of the approaching wave, "is that we're willing to risk everything to stop you. You never understood humanity's true strength. It's not in our technology or our numbers. It's in our hearts." The solar flare, concentrated and directed by human ingenuity, slammed into the Viridian fleet. Ships vaporized instantly, their advanced shields useless against the raw power of a star. The Resilience and the other human vessels, positioned in the shadow of specially designed heat shields, weathered the storm. When it was over, more than half the Viridian fleet was gone. The survivors, damaged and disoriented, struggled to regroup. "Second wave ready, Admiral," Captain Jordan reported. Elena watched the remaining Viridian ships on the tactical display. "Wait." The communications channel opened again. Daxu appeared, his command center filled with smoke and flashing emergency lights. "What have you done?" he gasped. "I've shown you what happens when you corner humans," Elena replied. "We've held back this weapon for years, hoping your kind would see reason. But you declared total war, Daxu. We're responding with something worse. We can negotiate. Now you want to talk?" Elena leaned forward, her eyes hard. "After billions dead? After you vowed to exterminate every last human?" "You don't understand," Daxu said, his voice trembling. "Our leadership—" "I understand perfectly," Elena cut him off. "You thought us weak because we value life. You saw our compassion as something to exploit, but compassion doesn't mean we won't fight when threatened." She turned to her weapons officer. "Target the remaining ships." "Wait," Daxu cried. "Others will come. The Viridian Empire spans hundreds of systems." Elena smiled sadly. "I know. That's why we're not stopping with your fleet. Operation Sunforge isn't just happening here. Right now, human ships are positioned at every star where your major colonies and fleets are gathered." Daxu's face showed pure terror as he understood. "You can't, that would be genocide." "No," Elena said firmly. "That would be your choice. You wanted our extinction. We're offering you a different path. Surrender, completely. End this war you started." The bridge fell silent as everyone waited for Daxu's response. Finally, the alien commander lowered his head. "I will contact our High Council," he said. "But know this, human, you have changed the galaxy today. Other species will fear you now." Elena thought of her childhood home, of her parents, of all the humans who had died fighting for survival. "We never wanted to be feared, Commander. We only wanted to live in peace." 3 days later, the Viridian Empire surrendered unconditionally. Their warships were dismantled, their military disbanded. Under the terms of surrender, they would spend the next century helping rebuild the worlds they had destroyed. Standing on the observation deck of the Resilience, Elena watched Earth growing larger in the view screen. Home, at last. Captain Jordan joined her, offering a small data tablet. "The final casualty reports," he said quietly. Elena took it but didn't look at the numbers. She already knew they were too high. Was it worth it? Jordan asked. Elena thought carefully before answering. No war is worth it, but survival is. She handed back the tablet. History will judge us, Captain. All we can do is make sure humanity never forgets this lesson. As the blue planet filled the view screen, Elena remembered the frightened child she had been when the war began. The universe had tried to extinguish humanity's light. Instead, it had only taught the stars themselves to fear the fire that burned within the human spirit.